Okay, we are reconvening this meeting at 5:34. Revision, adoption, ordering of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Yeah, well,
Excuse me, I'm sorry, board members. We're asking you to hold 11.6, because we didn't get the funding right. We're going to bring that back in October. And 11.13, Trustee Cooley has asked for that to be moved to action. So we can incorporate that into the motion.
that's fine.
So moved.
Okay, so Ed had a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Arouse. All right. Please vote with the changes, with the amendments. All right. Thank you. Okay. First, report out of closed session.
There's no report tonight, Mr. President.
Okay. District update by the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Nellison. Wanted to start off, I know it's a sad thing, but I think people should know. We received word a couple of weeks ago that one of our students, Benjamin Rufugio. Okay. Anyway, poor Benjamin passed away Thursday evening, September 19th, at the UC Irvine Medical Center. Medical complications, and thank you. You're right. He was a student at Paris High School. He's been on home hospital with Mr. DeBlato for the past 6 years. Last year, his older brother, Angel, passed away as well. So we're saddened by that, but we wanted the public to know that. Also, Vicki Mueller, president of the PSCA, told us with great sadness that former Pinacati and Paris High School teacher Leigh Davis passed away in August at his home in Oceanside, and our thoughts and prayers are with his family at this time. So moving from something sad to something good, we had a great start to the school year. If you haven't had a chance to go on South A Street and see Pinacati Middle School, it's just about done. And as I keep telling people, it went from the absolutely worst design architecturally middle school in all of Riverside County. It went from worst to first. It's now the envy of any middle school in Riverside County, and we're going to be dedicating that building, the final building there at Pinacati, on October 14th from 3:30 to 5. And so we'll invite the public to be there, but we're very proud of what's happened there. And the transformation continues at Paris High School. So if you're a student at Pinacati for the last few years, like some of you, and then you go to Paris High School, it's like nonstop construction. And we're continuing at Paris High School. If you haven't been over recently, the locker rooms are really coming together. We expect them to be done by spring, I believe. So springtime. I'm looking at you, and you're looking at them. And then, of course, we have the big project, the big classroom buildings that are going to come in there, and it's just going to be fantastic. So we're very, very proud about that. In the meantime, wanted to keep the board and the public aware that when Heritage High School was built, the anticipation was there are going to be a lot of homes around the school. And then what happened is the recession. And what that meant was the development didn't happen. And so when it rained really hard, we thought that the houses that were going to be there in the other development, well, we were going to have drainage away from the school. And it didn't happen. And more than once, the football field at Heritage High School has been underwater. Now, we've happened a couple times to the point now we couldn't play football there any longer. And we were ready to actually move all the home football games and split them between Paris and Paloma, which I'm sure the Heritage football team was not too excited about that. But the county flood control was able to complete the work across from the school. And so we hurried up and got the field ready, almost had it ready for the first home game. We weren't able to do that. But I want to thank Paris High School for hosting Heritage's first home football game last week, and thank Pinacati for being moved from Paris High School over to Paloma Valley High School to play its home football game. But again, I think, board, when we The stadium is, I believe it is completed now, and Heritage will return to its home field, and we won't have any flooding issues there any longer. Unless, of course, the 500-year flood comes, but we're hoping. It looks like we're getting, those people who say we're having an El Nino, looks like they may be right, because it's raining already in the summertime. Speaking of Paloma Valley High School, I'd like to introduce Master Sergeant Frank Puebla, who's in charge of the NJROTC program at Paloma, and he's got some students, and they're going to tell us some great things that your program has been doing. So, Master Sergeant, to the microphone. And no, don't have a discussion with Michael Rose back there. I know you guys are Marines, but, you know.
In fact, I'm just going to turn it over to my cadets. You don't need to hear from me, so without further ado.
Good evening, distinguished members of the board. I'm Cadet Commander Keoli, and with me today I have my Cadet XO, William Hull, and my Master Chief Petty Officer Hayes. And we're here on behalf of Paloma Valley High School's NJRTC Wildcat Battalion. And today we just want to inform you, ladies and gentlemen, about our program, what we've done, and what we plan on doing, and what we're currently doing today.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As stated before, I'm Cadet Master Chief Petty Officer Hayes, and I'm here to talk about the past and, more importantly, what we have done. We have grown 64% in our program. 3 years ago, we had 157 cadets in the program. Now we are proud to say we have 257 cadets here enrolled in the program today. As well as growth, we strive for improvement. And 2 years ago, we were honored with just earning Distinguished Unit Award, and last year we earned the Unit Achievement Award. And what those awards are attained by is an excessive amount of community service, attendance of events, and of course the overall performance of the unit. Those awards are great and all, but we do it for the community. And speaking of the community, 2 years ago we had approximately 4,000, a little bit over, 4,000 hours of community service. Last year we had 3,200 hours of community service performed by the cadets and people alike. Now, we do it for the community. We really try to get out there for our local community and try to give back because they've given us so much. And along with our community-driven aspects of the program, we have a competitive side as well. Last year we competed in the state competition and we placed third place. With that standing, we were able to go to a national competition in Pensacola, Florida, where we placed 17th in the nation. And 17th is nice and all, but we're shooting for number 1 in the country. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you. I'm about to pass it over to Mr. Hull.
Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As I was introduced, my name is Cadet Lieutenant Commander William Hull, and as my Master Chief just talked about what we've done in the past as a program, I'm going to be addressing what we're doing presently. And presently, at the tip of the spear of that would have to be our competition preparation. As it was said, last year we managed to get 3rd in the state and 17th overall in the nation. We were happy with that, but we can't be satisfied with that. So, with that being said, we're going for 1st or 2nd in the state, and we're hoping to place within the top 10 or so in the nation. And to do that, we have our after-school drill program run from approximately, I'd say about 3:20 to about 5:10 every day, or Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday every day after school, just to prepare for our competitions and put our school and our district on the map. Moreover, we like to provide our cadets with some opportunities to not only maintain their physical fitness, but to improve upon it. And something that we've recently implemented is morning PT sessions, which run from about 06:20 to 07 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. All cadets are invited to come participate. We also have PT practice run during the day schedule, during the classroom schedule, at least 2 or 3 times a week. And last and certainly not, and we're always beating the drum. Hey, get stronger on your own, because it's not just going to happen with minimal effort. Moreover, we like to shape our cadets not only physically and competition-wise. We also like to make our cadets, we like to make our cadets involved citizens. And one way we do that is we facilitate community service involvement. And the biggest one probably has to be our Menifee Food Pantry assistance. We work with Albertsons off Scott Road, and the way there we'll send cadets every weekend or so for about 2 months. To help collect donations for the Menifee Food Pantry to feed families who are less fortunate than ourselves. And then last, but certainly not least, because we are Paloma Valley High School and high school is an academic institution, we want to focus on making our cadets stronger in academics than they ever have been before. And as a matter of fact, before we came here, we were just finishing up a tutoring session. Our program, we like to take advantage of the early release Wednesdays, so from about 1:30, anywhere 3 to 3:30, we're running tutoring, where our most senior cadets, myself, the CO, the Master Chief, we're able to instruct to our younger cadets, like, hey, you need help in algebra? All right, come on in. Come in after school Wednesday. We'll help you. More than likely, we have a cadet that's experienced in any subject matter on campus that can teach just about any subject, and if we don't, we'll find somebody who will, so that we can make sure our cadets are academically successful. And with that being said, I guess in summation of that, what we're doing right now is to push forward to be the best that we can possibly be. And with that said, I'm going to pass it back to my CO.
Good evening again. I'm here to talk about the future now. So, as a program, as you all can tell, our program is constantly growing. Whether it's from numbers, achievements, and our knowledge, we're constantly growing and improving. With that being said, our eyes are not only set on being the top 5 schools in the nation in the Navy Nationals, but we also have our eyes set on Daytona. Daytona is a national competition for all JRTC programs, which includes Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and the Army. And all the top schools there compete and to see who's the best of the best. And one of our goals is to get to that level and compete at that nationally there in Florida as well. And another thing, besides the competition-wise, like my XO said, we're focusing more on academics. Right now, our GPA average is around 2.4 to 2.5 within the program. And our goal for the future is to have it to at least a 3.0 GPA average throughout the whole battalion. And that's a big step. It's a big jump. But we know we could do it if we stay committed and we just full charge this challenge. Okay. And another thing that our instructors are trying to do is even get our cadets college credits in the future. A lot of our cadets are looking forward to going into college and continuing their education career. And having college credits from just being in the program is going to be a great step and a great accomplishment for these cadets who want to continue their college their education. With this forward momentum that we are having, pretty much anything is possible. It may sound cliche, but to us it's reality. But that's all we have for you, ladies and gentlemen, today. Thank you very much.
Well, gentlemen, thank you. We want to congratulate you. But stay right there. And Master Sergeant Puebla, could you come up as well? I think people don't really know the whole story. And you guys don't even know the whole story. And a couple board members know the story in the cabinet. We got a letter from the Navy just a few years ago. The program wasn't down to 160. It was down to about 60 students at Paloma Valley High School. And the letter said, we're going to have to close this program. We got budget cuts at the national level. We're not going to be able to support that program. And to tell you leadership matters, there was a change in leadership. Master Sergeant Puebla joined the team. And so while I'm very proud of you students, I want to make sure the public understands that Master Sergeant Frank Puebla is George Washington to your program. He's the one who built the program. And so congratulations, Master Sergeant. No.
You got the wooden teeth?
That would be Napoleon, would be the wooden teeth, George Washington. Never mind. But anyway,
Got the wig?
we're very, very proud of your program, and we have an equally large program at Paris High School in JROTC. So we're very proud of these programs at CMI, Paloma Valley, and at Paris High School. And thank you and congratulations, you guys. I think you're gonna make that top group and be number one.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. You all have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted, Grant Bennett brought this to my attention, that we had a CMI student who since graduated who was selected as the Scholar Athlete of the Year for the CIF Southern Section. I mean, that is a huge thing. And her name, and I don't know if you know this, Mr. Rhodes. Did Rhodes leave? See, the meeting's over and Rhodes left. He didn't even get to hear. Vianney Munoz from CMI is the Scholar Athlete of the Year for the entire CIF Southern Section. So quite an honor, and I'd like to at least give her some applause. People don't realize when they think about PTA, they think about elementary school and cookies and lots of moms coming to help. But I want you to know PTA is more than that. It's an organization of parents, teachers, administrators, students, and they really do wonderful things. And tonight I want to introduce Jennifer LaPaglia Griswold from the Menifee Valley Council PTA that includes the Menifee schools, the Paris schools, the Romoland schools, so our entire Paris Union High School district. And she wants to make a presentation. So Jennifer, you're on.
Thank you very much, Dr. Greenberg, President, Cabinet members. I'm actually here tonight to share one of the PTA goals, and one of the goals that we often engage in is our health goals. We're trying to educate students, and we're trying to encourage them to consider their health. It's hard to talk to elementary schools about things as difficult as cancer. So tonight I would like to share with you what we're doing here in Menifee Valley Paris Union High School District. I would like to thank the board for the opportunity to speak, and I have to speak off a script because if I don't, I'll take about 3 hours. 10 years ago, the American Cancer Society and the volunteers set up the first Relay for Life. It was held at Mount San Jacinto, and it raised about $1,600. Over the next few years, the word got out, and the sad truth was that a lot of families in Menifee, Paris, and the surrounding areas were battling cancer. Parents, grandparents, children, business owners, teachers, all ethnicities, genders, and ages. And I'm sorry to say that there's not a single demographic that I can think of that has not been affected by cancer. After a few years of venue hopping, the event raised close to $25,000, which was spectacular. We thought it was amazing. But something was missing. There needed to be a place where people could count on and plan around and hope to attend every year. We needed a home. So the 100% volunteer leadership that came from your volunteers wandered into we made an appointment. We wandered into the superintendent's office at Paris Union High School District, and we explained what our plight. This is a 100% volunteer organization. The Relay for Life is not something that is done by professionals. These are all volunteers. The event our biggest cost was, of course, our venue. After meeting with the Paris Union High School Superintendent's office, they offered us a flat fee for as long as we stayed and continued at our 2 sites. The support that we received at Paloma Valley High School and Heritage High School go beyond our wildest expectations. Certificated, classified, administration, students we have been exposed to have given us the utmost support and effort. We are welcome on campus. We've had rallies. We've had events on campus. Principals have even been known to don evening gowns, and it wasn't the principal from Heritage.
Mr. Williamson, I never thought of you that way.
And this is all to bring awareness to our students. The student body in one afternoon realized that they were willing to go to the extreme to share this story. Because of the beautiful facilities we have grown, this event has reached thousands of participants, and last year the event went from raising $25,000 to $78,000. Since that day, 7 years ago, when we wandered into the superintendent's office, we have raised close to $600,000 here in Menifee and Paris between those 2 high schools. That money goes directly to cancer services, research, and programs that reach all the members of our community. The reason that we are here tonight is we would like to thank you. Thank you for giving us a home. It is so important. The most devastating visual that I saw last year was at the pep rally at Paloma Valley High School when we asked the students dealing with cancer, being affected by cancer, or being a caregiver by cancer, and hundreds of students stood up. It wasn't just something that was affecting older generations. It's affecting children every single day, and it is a very difficult conversation to have. So it is with great honor and gratitude that I am here to present 3 awards. The first is to the group that when I say the relay would not happen without this group. The day of the event activities, the setup, and especially the cleanup, because I can tell you Mike Pfeiffer and Don Williamson are very protective of their new field. And if we did not clean it up properly, we would not be welcome back. But this group of individuals has made it Absolutely a perfect and beautiful day for all the participants. So I would first like to present our bronze level, meaning that you have contributed the equivalent of $2,500 in volunteer hours and services. And I would like to challenge them when they talk about their highest volunteer hours, because they give us thousands. And our first award goes to the Paloma Valley NJROTC cadets. The second award that we would like to present is to Paloma Valley High School, the administrators, teachers, classified, and certificated employees. This is the gold lever contribution, and the gold lever contribution is so important because the classified staff show up for the entire weekend and give us 100% effort. We have no issues on the site. The bathrooms are available. The lights are available. The parking lot's available. And if you wonder if that helps, it absolutely does. People come out and spend 24 hours on the track. They do not leave the track for 24 hours to simulate the conditions that some cancer patients go through when they're suffering chemo. We want them to be cold. We want them to be hot. We want them to suffer because that's what somebody going through cancer feels like. So for 24 hours, our participants agree not to leave the track. And if it wasn't for your facilities, we would not be able to host this event because they know there's a bathroom, not just a porta potty. They know that there's lighting, that their cars are safe overnight. They know that the facilities has created an environment that allows them to do all the things that they want to do during the day. So when we say that we are so proud to give the gold level contribution to Paloma Valley High School, Don Williamson, we truly mean thank you so much. And finally, our premium platinum level, which is the equivalent of over $10,000 sponsorship, goes to the Paris Union High School School District and all of its members. If you haven't come out and seen the event in action, you are welcome anytime. This event truly represents the best of our community. It affects people, it helps people, and it encourages people to seek community. And community is what we have learned from Paris Union High School District. We know that you are there for us, and we will always be there for you. So we would like to present the Platinum Level Sponsorship Award to Paris Union High School District.
Why don't you go up and tell him? He's coming to get it.
We do have our Heritage event. I would like to invite everybody here to come out. It's on April 8th. And then our Paloma Valley High School event is May 21st and 22nd. And I also have T-shirts available for all of our board members and council members. And as you can see, atop of the pyramid is Paris Union High School District. You are absolutely our most valued supporter. Thank you again.
Thank you, Jennifer, and it's really part of an education for students to see this and to give back to community. So we really want to thank you and PTA for your leadership in this event. And that'll conclude my report for the evening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Greenberg. Oral reports. We'll start with Trustee Arouse. Student reports.
Let's welcome Candace Rosado, student rep from Heritage High School.
I'm really tall, so. That's better. This is my nice technology. I'm gonna move that up. It does that. There we go. All right. Good evening. Hi. My name is Candace Rosado. I am the representative for Heritage High School. You guys might have seen me before. I'm also a member of the speech and debate team at Heritage High School. I'm currently the president/captain. I'm actually, this like a side note, I actually competed in the national tournament this summer for speech and debate, and I'm currently ranked 34th in the nation for, yeah. Thank you. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I do humorous interpretation, so it's jokes. It's pretty cool. But I'm actually here not for speech and debate. It's a surprise, I know. I'm here for the ASB. I'm also a member of the Associated Student Body from Heritage. I'm actually Commissioner of Publicity, so I'm here to tell you guys about what we've been doing. And to start, we have a great start to the new school year. We do miss Ms. Zerold. However, Mr. Arce, our new principal, is doing fantastic. We all look forward to more years to come with him, and he's had a great start with us. And we also had, Arlene Crew actually ran their freshman orientation, and we had over 500 freshmen attend, and yeah, it's pretty good. And they got to tour the campus, they got to meet the teachers, meet other students, and it's very good interaction with the kids, so they can kind of feel more comfortable and feel more at home when they start the school year. And our club rush that we had on September 1st and 2nd, we have 59 clubs on our school campus, and we've had 300 students sign up for clubs that weren't in the clubs before, so that was really good. We had more kids sign up for speech and debate, so that was definitely a positive. I liked that. Also, this is our first year that we've had a boys water polo team, and we're looking forward to the season for them this fall. We're also looking forward to all the other sports that we have going on this fall, hoping that they do well. And Arlene Crew will be hosting a movie night for all freshmen on September 2nd. So the Link Crew leaders are very excited about that. They are looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun time. And ASB is actually preparing for our homecoming on October 23rd and 4th. Well, the game and then the dance. The theme for homecoming this year is the sweetest homecoming of all. So it's all candy and sweet, hence the name Sweetest, because candy's sweet. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I know. That's how I felt. Yeah. Anyone? Yeah, I felt that. And lastly, we would like to congratulate our student and staff of the month. Robert Green is our student of the month. Lisa Salazar, classified staff of the month. And Ben Washburn's first certificated staff of the month. And so our school's been doing really well. We're really excited for the year to start. We got a lot of new kids. All the kids are really excited about it. I'm excited for speech and debate to start. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Candace. Trustee Twyman?
From Paloma Valley, Elijah Martinez and Janessa Frank Fink. Did I say it right?
That was right. That was pretty close. It's okay. Good afternoon, everyone. President Nelson, Dr. Greenberg. Janessa Fink couldn't make it tonight, so you have me right now. So this is my first time, so I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. But yeah, I'm going to give you guys some news on what we're doing at Paloma, what's been going on. I'll start off with some good news about football. Our football team's record right now is 2-1. And just last Friday night was our 9/11 Community Appreciation Night. And we had an upset win over MLK. They are ranked higher than us, and we overcame that by quite a few points. And we had actually the honor of hosting the Big Flag. This is only the second time ever that a high school has ever been able to host this. It's always at college holiday bowls. It's even in NFL games. And I'm going to show you right now what it looked like. That's the picture. That's pretty nice. Yeah, so I stole this from our principal's Facebook page. And so I got it right off there. And so this is his cover photo. So if you guys want to check it out, it's there. We have other really cool pictures. So we had the honor of having that. So there you go. I was going to talk about school spirit too. Number one on the list was Maroon Platoon. And if you guys don't know what that is our spirit section in football games, and we're trying to get it involved into other sports as well. Maroon Platoon started last year with me and 3 other seniors at the time, and this was organized through ASB, and it got started that way. It originally was just an idea. We had a small student section, and we wanted to promote school spirit in a way that had never happened before. And Maroon Platoon provided that. It was a crazy spirit section, and this is just where we want to just, I don't know, it's go nuts. But so it's promoting our school. We had class spirit rallies the other week, and that was just, each class had an individual rally. And what I really loved about that was ways to get them excited about things going on this year for each individual class. But I thought the coolest thing about it was I got to witness the freshman rally. And so the freshman rally, we're thinking these kids are a little nervous. They're going into high school. We didn't really know what to expect. But they were the crowd that went the craziest. They were the most excited. They were most enthusiastic. They got involved. And so I realized we have a group of students coming up who are excited to learn, excited to be active in the school system. And I'm excited for them. I'm excited to see how they're going to take the school, how they're going to move on, and proceed carrying on the legacy that we have at Paloma. And also we had ASB class shirts. So ASB actually funded for every single student. There was a T-shirt available. And this T-shirt was the same from the front. It's maroon shirts with the Paloma Valley logo in the corner. And then on the back, it was individualized for each class. And so we handed that out to every student. So we're promoting every Friday to wear maroon. And now no kid has excuse not to wear maroon and to promote sports, to promote school spirit, things like that. More exciting things going on. Number one, we actually this year received a silver ranking by U.S. News, and for that, it's actually the top 10.3% of schools in the entire nation received this. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it was 67% don't even receive a reward at all. They don't get a ranking. And the top I'm sorry, I should have probably put it on there. The top 2-point-something%, they receive the gold. So we are in the top 10.3 in the entire nation, and I can say that proudly. Also, Walmart donated $1,000 to our Wildcat Brigade, and they're going to do some good things with that. So also, we had an alumni open up for Kelly Clarkson in one of her concerts recently, and so that's just one of the amazing things that we have different alumni doing. Another thing that we have, the engineering and automotive class that we have going on, we've had the building, we've had the classroom, we've had the whole entire layout all ready to go for years. It's always been there, but not until recently when our principal actually pushed for that to happen. We never did anything with that classroom. We never had anything going on with that, but we finally are using it. It was formerly the ASB room. We got moved to a different part of the school, but excuse me. But we actually got to use that. So now it's just the beginning stages of it, but I believe something cool is going to be able to come from it. That's all I have right now, but I also wanted to say that with the ROTC program, those guys did an awesome job coming up here. But one of them, actually, Dennis Kaoli, he was congratulated with Student of the Month last year. So that's also something. The ROTC program, those three guys are three personal friends of mine, and I see them doing amazing things every single day, leading the school and doing great things. So I wanted to just give them thanks. And thank you for having me. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah. Trustee Cooley.
Hello. Good evening, President Nelson, board members, Superintendent Dr. Greenberg, and Cabinet. I'm Melissa Vasquez, junior class president. This is my fourth year back here. It's nice to be back. This year I'm joined by Alex Vela. She's an ASB member in our junior class. And together we're going to be your Paris High School Board representatives. So registration week, registration and prep week usually was 4 days, and we reduced it to 2 days. This may seem like an overwhelming task, helping over 2,000 students with registration, schedules, and a never-ending stream of paperwork. With the combined efforts of the office staff and ASB, things went very smoothly. The prep week ended with Link Crew hosting their freshman orientation that gave new incoming Panthers a chance to connect with upperclassmen and make new friends, and they got to tour our campus and see all the new changes going on. On August 12th, it was our first day of school, and even though that there was many buildings being constructed, Link Crew helped out and passed maps so everybody knew where to get to their classes.
And on August 17th and 18th, we had our ID picture day. So in an effort to get IDs to the student body at the very start of the school year, IDs switched from summer registration to the first week of school. And surprisingly, we're very proud that 94% of the school had their IDs by the first full week of school. On August 27th, we had back to school night, and during that, parents arrived early for an informative meeting by Mr. Hilton and his staff. The next day, we had an away game played at home. Now, because of the extreme heat that took place in Indio, they actually came to Paris, but we ended up winning. On September 11th, we had our homecoming game, where we all came together to remember the victims of 9/11, with the Paris High eventually winning again. The next day, we had the homecoming dance, which was a success because for the first time in a very, very long time, we moved from the MPR to the big gym to allow more room for more people and just a lot more fun in general. Now, for clubs for the 2014-2015 school year, Paris High's Friday Night Live won a chapter of the year for Riverside County. For PBIS, we wanted to reach out to remind everyone again that it is about being on time, going out of our way to be kind to others, bringing class materials, and etc. For Innovated, we have driver safety and education program now at Paris High. Program completion will result in students meeting the Department of Motor requirements to take their driver's permit test. Cross-country team completed the Colton Invitational. Our senior boys placed first, and our freshman boys also placed first. We also had the fastest runner of the entire day with Gabriel Sanchez. We'd like to give a special recognition to the Teacher of the Month, Mr. Cousins of FFA, and Student of the Month, our varsity quarterback, Carlavon Manuel. And on a side note, Paris High has started a feminism club to bring awareness of women's rights and gender equality. And I, as the president, on behalf of Feminism Club, wanted to really reach out to the community so we can talk about this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Wait a second. Girls, come back up.
And I enjoyed the hot. Oh, pardon me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mrs. Cooley. You go first.
I enjoyed the hot dogs that the ag department cooked. I had two.
Yeah. Thank you.
One right after
really
another.
You know, we've known Melissa for many years. She spoke when she was at Pentecostal, and now she's speaking at Paris High. But you, on the other hand, Alexandra, the way you speak, you sound outspoken, kind of like your mother.
Just a tad.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Alexandra's mother. Would you like to stand up and be recognized? Erica Tejeda Van Rensburg, our assistant principal at Paris High School. Like mother, like daughter. Great job. All right, ladies. Thank you.
That's how we can keep you apart. She's taller. That's what you're saying. Okay, thank you, ladies. Trustee Agundez.
From Pinacata Middle School, student rep Jaylene Cárdenas and Javier Chavez.
Good evening, President Nilsson and members of the board meeting of Charities and Dr. Greenberg and members of the cabinet. I am Jaylene Cárdenas, and with me here is Javier Chavez. We are ASB representatives. We are here to talk about the greatest things that happened during August and September to help us have a great start to a new school year.
On August 4th and August 5th, almost 800 students attended to our annual Spirit Day. Students picked up their schedules, bought PE uniforms, and picked up the textbooks. Parents and students who attended were upbeat and grateful for the lines because they weren't too long and it was easy for them to go in and out quickly. This event was a big success and set the tone for a great start to the school year. We would like to thank our teachers for coming together and teaching the PBIS social skills. Every teacher taught the same social skills lesson for each period during the first 3 days of school. Pinacate has never started the school year this way, and so far it's been making a difference as there has been a lot fewer students sent to the office. Also, we would like to recognize and thank our teachers for working together to assure that all of us received our Chromebooks during the first 5 days of school.
We would like to thank the PE department, Coach Al, Ms. Jones, for making Picture Day such a smooth and successful operation. This year, our students got their new student IDs on the spot. Soon, our IDs will be scanned to earn Puma points and help Pumas earn free supplies, college and Pinucati t-shirts, and other fun items. On August 31st through September 4th, we had an ASB club rush. The thanks goes to ASB and Ms. Cardos for making it a successful lunchtime activity. Many students signed up for clubs to help them become more connected and involved. ASB ended the week with games during lunch, and ASB students introduced themselves as candidates for ASB leadership positions. The entire week helped generate a very positive school spirit amongst our students.
On Thursday, September 4, we opened our campus to our parents. The district tutoring fair took place in the gym and a Title I meeting for our parents. We finished the meeting with hundreds of parents and students who came to enjoy themselves walking around our beautiful campus and enjoying the evening at our back-to-school night. We would like to thank Mr. Greenberg and Mr. Swartz for attending, and thanks going to the entire staff who made this such a positive evening.
The boys tackle football team won their opening game 55-44 against the Rancho Christian. Go Pumas! It was great to watch so many of our eighth grade graders to step up and make big plays. 5 different players scored a total of 8 touchdowns. Our Pumas showed strong, disciplined leadership, which was needed because they lost their team captain and best player. Thanks to Mr. Williamson and Paloma Valley for letting us play on their school. Good job goes to our coach staff led by Mr. Jones, who got their boys in there in time ready for the game. Next week, our defending champions go on the road to take on the Saddleback Christian. Go Pumas! We also have about 60 girls playing in girls volleyball, and we also have a flag football team, and 8 girls are in that team. So go Puma ladies!
Coming up soon, we are starting our hashtag Can I Help Week to delete negativity on social media. Thank you for listening to our report. Are there any questions? Thank you for your support. Have a productive evening.
Thank you, Jaylene and Javier. From Paris Lake High School, student representatives Mario Alcaraz, Anthony Estrada, Anahi Leon, Christopher Padilla, and Hope Stover.
Good evening, governing board and cabinet members. My name is Anthony Estrada, ASB president of Paris Lake High School. There were some great things that happened over the summer at Paris Lake High School. We would like to especially thank Mr. Fritz and all of his people for putting such hard work and time into making our school better. The interior of the main building of the NPR were painted, new buildings were replaced, new blinds were replaced with old all over campus, and our north end bathrooms were gutted, redone, and we have brand new cafe-style furniture in the library. And my partner, Hope Stover, Vice President.
Good evening, board members and cabinet. I am Vice President for ASB at Paris Lake High School. My name is Hope Stover. Our school has recently acquired 2 new staff members, Mr. Rudy Lima, our new counselor, and Ms. Teresa Gonzalez, our new English teacher. Both the new staff members have recently stated that they are feeling very welcome by both staff members and students. Mr. Lima states that he is very grateful for the welcoming smiles every day by staff members, and he is happy to assist our students at Paris Lake High School. Ms. Gonzalez is also feeling very welcomed by staff members and is grateful for the English department and some students for helping her learn the ropes at Paris Lake. Now I'm going to pass it over to my classmate.
Good evening, board members. My name is Mario Alcazar. We would like to extend a new warm welcome to all of our new students who have joined us here at Paris Lake High School. We believe the group this year is very positive and motivated this year. As always, it is our hope that the students will progress and meet the requirements to get back on track and meet the graduation date. Now, introducing my classmate, Anaí. Thank you.
Good evening. The upcoming events on our campus are the following. Back to School Night is on Thursday, the 24th at 6 p.m. ASB is planning on hosting an art contest to get our students more involved, and also we'll have information available for our parents of our senior class. We'd love to see you there. Our first blood drive will be on Friday the 18th, and the following week, ASB will be taking senior pictures for our trimester 1 graduates. I'll pass it over to my classmate, Chris.
Good evening, board. Last year's seniors class purchased a great sound system and it finally showed up last week. This will help us provide an audio for any events that we may have at Paris Lake High School. Finally, we had a great guest speaker named Deke Hackens from the first 3 days of school. Great message, and each staff member and student received a shirt promoting a positive year for all. Yay! We would also like to present each member of the board and cabinet with one as well. We would like to ask Miss Ortel to give us shirt sizes for both the cabinet and the board so we can deliver them to you. Thank you.
Before you leave, I know you're coming up. I want you to make sure you introduce your 2 teachers that are here today because they always come at every board meeting. Your assistant principal has to be here. You don't have to introduce him.
Well, here are very lovely ASB teachers, Ms. Johnson and Ms. Puente. They are both wearing the shirts that we are going to present you guys with once we get your shirt sizes. It is sporting a quote by Tupac. And in front, we have an image of a rose coming from concrete. Well, I guess that ends our statements. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any students here, if you need to go home, study for anything, by all means, you guys are more than welcome to leave. You won't hurt our feelings. All right, PSCA President Vicki Mueller.
Good evening, President Nelson, board, cabinet, and teachers. Thank you for this opportunity to address the board. It's been a settling time for teachers as we acclimate to teaching a 7-period day. I want to thank our amazing educators for stepping in and making it work. It's with great sadness that I report to you the passing of Colin Kelly. He was a 35-year member of Paris Union High School District. And if you are interested, his service is at Arlington National Cemetery on September 24th at 11 a.m. Coach Kelly. Yeah, so I wanted to report that tonight. I will be sending out a district-wide email, and there are many CSEA members also that knew him, so if I can have your permission to send it out staff-wide, I'd like to do that. So, and Joan, I know you started. He had lung cancer, so it was Sunday. He passed away Sunday. So, Coach Kelly was Coach Kelly. Yeah, So, and so this is our second teacher in less than a month, former teacher from Pentecostal. So, it's just very sad for some of us over there that, worked with these people for many years. So. I want to take this time and acknowledge the band and ROTC at Paloma Valley High School for making me proud to be an American with a strong showing of our flag. It was an emotional evening and for everyone that attended. Some troubling numbers I would think that we need to look at with the early start time again for Pentecostal, and of course I know I'm not speaking for all of the schools. I haven't gotten all the data in. But we've gone to having 12 to 15 tardies a week to having 50 to 60 tardies a day. And we have a number of students that have to take public transportation to get to school, and they cannot get there in time. They are 15 to 20 minutes late for school every day. And so I think we need to take a look at this maybe for second semester. If we could bump that time to 8 o'clock, I don't know what the logistics are there, but I think 50 to 60 a day, and I went and I verified these numbers before I brought them to you. So I'm not speaking off the top of my head, because I didn't want to say, is that an exaggeration? And it takes 3 people every day to process the numbers. And so we really have to look at that. Many of our students can't they take public transportation. We have to do what's right for the students. High school kids can drive themselves, or they have brothers and sisters that can drive them. Our kids don't. And so we've got to look at that for themselves. I've managed to make it to every site with the exception of a few speed bumps. Most of the members have reported it's been a smooth start to the school year. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to continue bringing you updates and representing our members. Any questions for me? Joan, if you want, I'll shoot you an email on that too. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Okay. CSEA President Claudia Davis? Not here. Nobody else representing CSEA? Okay. Okay, the invitation to address the Board of Trustees on agendized and non-agendized items. We do have one taker. Mr. Kevin Jackson about the Future Innovators STEM competition.
Hello, Board. Good evening. My name is Kevin Jackson. I represent a 501c3 Steps Ahead. It's based in Moreno Valley, and we're having an upcoming event, Future Innovators of the Next Generation STEM competition, which will be held at Valley View High School on October the 17th. The participating districts will be Paris Union High School District, the Moreno Valley Unified School District, and also the Boys and Girls Club here in Paris is going to be participating. It's going to be, what's going to entail in that, it's going to be groups of middle school and high school students and groups of 5 in the experiment portion of the competition, and groups of 5 dealing with experiments in STEM disciplines, chemistry, physics, aeronautics, environmental science, computer engineering, robotics, and renewable energy, depending on what abstracts they submit to us. And then we'll also have 6 entries from each school, middle school and high school, that will also be writing about the same STEM disciplines. As you can see, some of the members here have received information from us, a brief detail of what we're doing. On the website there, you can go and get a full overview of exactly what the competition is about, the judging criteria, sample abstracts, and every information that would be, I think, beneficial. I wanted to invite the members of this board to come out and support this event. We've had a lot of the people that have worked with us. Diane Martin from your district and Educational Services has been an intricate part in our planning with this, along with Maribel Maddox, the Director of Secondary Education, and Dr. Kay, the Assistant Superintendent. And then also Jackie Ramos is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club here in Paris. So we would like you to come out and see the future innovators, the kids that we have. And also we have a component for the elementary school kids. We did not want to leave them out. We want to get them engaged in STEM activities. So the Boys and Girls Club here at Paris will have activities for the elementary school kids. There are prizes or monetary gifts that's going to be for the first place experiment for middle school and high school students is going to be $1,500 per group, which equates to $300 per member of that group. The essay portion of it, the first, second, and third place will be 3, 2, and 1. So this will be something that's very good. We have a lot of great sponsors that Northrop Grumman has supported us, U.S. Bank, Pacific Western Bank, Southern California Edison. We have Chick-fil-A, Walmart, then also the Stater Brothers chain here, and then also the Sizzlers. It's going to be partnering with us with this. So I would really like to see each and every one of you come out and support this and see your students, as they're really developing, because we have a lot of dynamite students here in this particular area. And I want you to come out and see exactly what your district's going to be doing, the Moreno Valley District's going to be doing, and just see how this thing will grow. Incidentally, the next year, Diane Martin had pulled my arm a little bit. The next year's competition will be here in Paris, and that's what we're looking at, a rotate between districts. So we're looking for something even bigger next year for here in Paris. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. If there's any questions that you have, I'll entertain those now. Okay, well, thank you very much. If there's any other information, you can look at the website there and the information there. Thank you very much for your time, and you have a good evening. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Okay, we have the consent calendar. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
I had Ed, and actually Dr. Rouse was right there. So please vote. This is without the ones that were polled. Okay, so please vote with the amended items pulled already. Okay, thank you. Information item presentation to Southern California Edison for their support of Think Together.
Grant, can you give the background to that?
Yes. Well, I would like to introduce Lawrence Gustafson from Think Together. This is an organization that is running our after-school programs at both Paris High, Heritage High School, and CMI, and Pinacati. I'm sorry. I was going to forget about Pinacati. And they've been doing a great job working with our kids in this after-school program, and they wanted to make a presentation tonight, so I'm going to turn it over to Lawrence.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, members of the board, President Nilsen, Dr. Greenberg, and the cabinet. We're proud to recognize Southern California Edison tonight for the generous support and partnership in terms of providing STEM programs for the students at Pinacate and CMI. And we have this program has provided hands-on kind of project-based learning in terms of STEM curriculum that helps them learn about students around earthquakes and how do they design structures that can withstand that, learn about liquefaction, as well as food science, how they can learn about the pH balance, how they can learn about emulsions, and we do kind of formative assessments for the year. We've seen students have just significant growth in their knowledge of these subjects over the past year, and this is through a $10,000 grant from Edison last year, and they've renewed it for this year. So we're extremely grateful. And I'd like to welcome up Raymond Hicks, who is the region manager of the local public affairs for Southern California Edison, and
a longtime friend of this school district.
And so here's this plaque on behalf of the Paris Union High School District and Think Together, recognizing Southern California Edison for their generous support and partnership serving Paris students with STEM education programs.
I think I'll come down and be in that picture.
Yeah.
Could I just say a couple of words?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Clock hasn't started.
Only 3 minutes worth, Ray.
Okay.
I know you.
The education is your job to facilitate, and what comes out, the final product, is what we're going to be dealing with and working with. And so I'm just so pleased our company has taken such a strong stand on supporting STEM programs. The prior speaker, this one, there's programs throughout where kids are getting exposed to things that we never did. My science class was rocks and, figuring out what was what. And I just got a C in that silly thing. So, the future is changing. Wireless technology, look at where we're at. It's Star Trek. And we need those students to be wanting to learn and desiring to learn. And programs such as this is what makes that happen. You've got to get the interest going so that they will grab it and have a vision and a hope. And I just want to thank you guys for working with the program Think to make this happen.
Another picture?
Sure.
She's right over there.
Why don't you shift like two feet that way?
Like this?
Shuffle, 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 shuffle.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Suck it in, suck it in. Thank you very much. Oral report on 2014-15 assessment, accountability, progress reporting.
Okay, I'm going to introduce Grant and, of course, our coordinator, Charles Tippy, who does all of our testing. And, you know, board, this is the first year we got SBAC results. That's the good news. The bad news is statewide, everybody is looking at the results going, what happened to our students? Well, what happened is these new tests are based on Common Core assessments, and certainly that's a new world. But one of the things that Grant and Charles are going to tell you is that we use the data to inform instruction, meaning no matter how you do, you can always do better. That's number one. But something that I think that they're going to talk about that's important is that out of the 23 districts in Riverside County, our district is the 17th poorest, meaning we are closer to being the poorest district in the county in terms of socioeconomics of our families than we are towards the top where Temecula and Murrieta are. So we're 17th. But I think what they're going to show you is you would then expect then if socioeconomics drives student achievement, which it does in many cases, you would kind of think that we should be 17th in our ranking in language, arts, and math. And I think Charles and Grant have some good news in that regard. So turn it over to you, Grant.
Don't steal all the thunder yet.
I'll just give you the clicker, Dr. Greenberg. President Nelson, Board of Trustees, Dr. Greenberg, and Cabinet, we want to thank you for this opportunity to share where we're at on as far as the new accountability system. You know, we did CSTs for 12 years or so, started in 2003 with CSTs. And when you look at the numbers in 2003 on CSTs, you'll see a very close relationship with the scores of the first time we're given the CASP test. So Charles will talk more about that, I think. But well, we're looking at our assessment accountability update. We had a suspension of the CASE. The state voted to do away with the CASE this year. We weren't able to offer it in July for kids that hadn't passed it. So when they did that, then they passed a law where all the kids that didn't pass the CASE were able to get a diploma as long as they met the high school graduation requirements from our district. And we've contacted those students and got them their diplomas.
And that was just for this year, correct?
I was going to get to that next part.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Then they've suspended it for the next 3 years also. That bill hasn't been signed by Governor Brown yet. It passed through the Senate and the House. But it hasn't. Once it's signed by the governor, it will take effect January 1st. So what we'd be able to do then is offer diplomas to those students previously that hadn't passed the exit exam. So we may have kids that have been going to adult ed, they've met all the high school graduation requirements, but haven't been able to pass the CASE. Well, those students, now adults, would be eligible to come back, and our plan is to try to contact as many as we can because some of them could have moved on to other places, but we're going to do our due diligence, try to contact them too.
And how far back is that allowed to go?
If they were a senior in the class of 2003.
Or
since they've given the CASE test,
okay.
It basically works back that far. So also changing is how the AYP is going to be calculated for us. This year they're using the Smarter Balanced Participation Rates, which is they were looking at wanting us to be over 95% kids taking the assessment. They don't care what the score was if we could get 95% of the kids to take it. And we were scrambling to make sure that happened this past year because we knew this was coming. The other part they're going to meld into it will be the graduation rates and attendance rates for the middle, for us, for CMI and for Pinacate, because they don't have a graduation rate. Eventually, it's gonna even more. But that's what we're looking at for this year. The switch from API to LCFF. We're aligning our accountability system to the 8 state priorities. So we've worked hard on that. You've seen that in our LCAP and those things. And then this year, they changed. It was called SBAC for a while. Now it's CASP, the California Assessment of Student Progress and Performance. So it's a new acronym. We get new acronym a week in education. So looking at on the CST test, we had 5 levels. We would have far below basic, basic, proficient, and advanced. Well, now they went to 4 levels. Exceeding standards, meeting standards, not met, nearly met standards, and has not met the standard. And levels 3 and 4, they're calling those, they're college and career ready. They feel like they're, when you're looking at the EAP and things, those are some numbers that mean something, and Charles will talk about that in a minute. But so we're going down to 4 levels. So we're thinking basic kind of falls at 2.5, level 2.5 in that general area, and the other ones would be up. So I'm going to turn over to Charles now. He's going to share some more information with you.
And so when the student score reports come out, and the district reports are already out now, there are also additional scores that come along with this. So claims are big overarching themes or ideas of what students can do at that level. So you see the 4 different claim levels in ELA and in math, and on these there's only 3 different score reports. So there's a below standard, at standard, and above standard on the claims. Grant and Dr. Greenberg mentioned it earlier. These are 2 totally different systems of assessment and accountability. So I went to a presentation and they labeled it more than apples and oranges. These are 2 totally different systems in many different ways. The standards are more rigorous. They're brand new. The assessments are delivered on computers. They're computer adaptive. And we're now expecting a lot more out of students in what they do on these assessments. So a couple of examples, they have to explain how they solve their problems, think critically, and write analytically. So here's a couple difference, 2 different items in ELA. So the first one, a 4-question multiple choice question where basically all the student has to do is recognize the correct answer, and then we move to a constructed response item where they have to generate the answer. It's not right in front of them, but they have to type it out, and now they're taking information, analyzing that information, explaining, and then generating the answer on the computer. Similar in math, here's an old-fashioned CST question. Once again, the answer is right in front of the student. And now this is the new one, an equation numeric item, where once again, they're generating the answer from scratch. It's not right in front of them. And actually, we talked about the apples and oranges. Legislation came out a couple years ago, AB 484, that actually prohibits CDE from comparing the 2015 SBAC scores to the 2013 CST scores. So here's a graph that compares the 2013 scores to the 2015 scores. But when I put this in context, on the sheets and up on the screen, there's 3 different bar graphs. So starting left to right, the first one on the left are the Smarter Balance scores from last spring. You can see that only 42% of the students met the standard or exceeded the standard. But if we put this into context and you look at the middle graph, those were the CST scores from 2003. And the reason we have 2003, that's when we implemented the California standards and the first STAR assessment. So brand new system, brand new standards, new way of testing. And we did, as you can see from the graph here, much better in 2015 than we did with CSTs in 2013. So if we go back and look at the previous screens where the easier assessments, compare that, we did better in this system and much better in this system compared to that. And then the state had the fear that these scores were going to be so much worse than the 2003 results that's the reason we can't compare these. But if you look at the numbers, we did pretty well compared to that. Similar situation in math. And we put these numbers up here, to kind of celebrate what we did do, and knowing that we have a lot of work to do in the future. But the math are in a similar situation there. These are the county scores. So Dr. Greenberg mentioned that demographically, when we look at things like percentage of free and reduced lunch, parent education level, and what's the other big one? Percentage of English learners. We're more like number 14 in the county as far as demographics, meaning that there should be 13 or 14 other districts ahead of us in demographics, and we ended up in, this is for both ELA and math, we're about tied for number 6. So that's pretty good considering the challenges that we have in front of us. This graph right here represents the percentage of students that met the college ready or conditionally ready rates. And you can see in ELA we're 53%, which is tied with the county. Only other districts ahead of us are those districts with, Marietta, Temecula. They might have, I think, 15-20% free and reduced lunch. Their parent education levels, they might have 10% of the parents that haven't graduated from high school, whereas at Paris High School it's about 48%. Anything you want to add to that?
No. You're doing fine, Charlie.
A similar graph that represents all grade levels tested. So these are all of the students in our district, grades 5 through 8 and grade 11, that met the standard or exceeded the standard. And once again, we did pretty well in the county considering our demographics. So, yeah, please do.
But Grant, before you speak, I want the public to understand how important Scholar Plus has been to this. Because remember, these kids are taking these tests on their own devices. And virtually every other student in this county is having to go into a computer lab. And so you wonder, really, do their test scores reflect what they know in English or math, or is there a technology gap? And so for better or for worse, we own our test scores because most of our kids, when they're doing it, know how to do the functions on the computer, and they're taking their SBAC on their own device and not another computer. So, but again, a testament to the work that Joe and Candace and Shane and others have done, making certain that our kids have the latest technology so they get that advantage doing these exams.
And I wanted to share something looking at these numbers. We're excited that where we fall county-wise when we're compared to other districts and that are, the 23 districts in our county. That's good news. But we're not happy with where our numbers are. We know there's a lot of work to do, looking at 43% of the kids meeting or exceeding standards in ELA and only 19% in math. Those numbers are nowhere near where we want to be, and we know we have a lot of work to do. But when we were when Charles and I were talking about before we saw where we fit in with the rest of the county, we were going, oh my goodness, what are But so everybody's in the same boat is where we're at. So we're looking at our improvements, and Charles is going to talk about kind of our next steps that we're going to be looking at. I'm talking about it? Okay, Charles said I was talking about it. Our plan of action, we're aligning our units of assessment, unit assessments to the CASP testing, using those kind of testing questions in all of our assessments. We're doing professional development on SBAC interim assessments. We're using the interim assessments for our ELA benchmark assessment. So the exact same kind of questions the kids are going to see on the test are what we're using as our benchmark assessment, so they'll even be further along in that. Math-wise, they don't have that many for math right now. Very limited, only I think three interim assessments. So when they release more, we'll start integrating those more into how we're assessing our math people. Continue our implementation of the LCAP, where really our focus is we wrote this plan. We need to focus on what's in the plan and how we're going to continue to improve what's going on with our kids. And then we're really looking at the implementation of the new ELD standards. Those go across the board. They go into all areas. So we've had a few different trainings on that, and we're going to continue that to help develop those skills that the kids are going to need.
And we all know the most important requisite, the most important thing in improving student achievement is having great classroom teachers. And Ms. Mueller, we have great classroom teachers. And, they should, obviously we're not celebrating, but those are really good results on a first-year effort on this. And our teachers and Ms. Vicky's been a big supporter of professional development and our professional development days, and that's made a big difference in instruction in the classroom. So let's make sure all of us, administrators, teachers, employees, thank our teachers for the hard work they're doing, making this tough transition that Mrs. Cooley and I've talked about a long time. But the transition is happening whether we like it or not. It's happening, and the great news is our teachers are embracing it and doing great things with our kids on it. She doesn't like the word embracing, accepting.
Were there any questions from the board? No questions? Good. Well, we want to thank you for this, and I'll put Charles' slide up with his contact information if you have other questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Information item, suspension report. Action item, revised salary schedules and job descriptions, 14.1. Yeah, we had to get a motion for this.
So moved. Second.
Okay, Ed and Jose. Okay, we get
All
some
right,
information on this.
This is going to be kind of a team effort on the cabinet, so we didn't rehearse this ahead of time. I'd like to introduce it, but I want to make sure that both Candace and Tanya have an opportunity to speak to it as well. When I came here 8.5 years ago, one of the first things I noticed was that administrator salaries, not talking about principals and assistant principals, but coordinators, managers, directors, was kind of all over the place, meaning, and as time changes, so should our look at that salary and where people are placed, and not so much the person, but the position. So we wanted to take a 2015 look at our directors and those who should be directors, and look at it and give some internal consistency to it. Meaning, 25 years ago, technology would have been a manager's position, maybe not even that. But we're in 2015, and technology in our district is critical to this organization. And so I wanted to do this during the recession, but that was not a good time to talk about this when people are taking furlough days to reorganize the management or restructure the salary schedule. So I tasked Candace and Tanya to look at what other districts are doing, and then to bring a proposal to cabinet, and we've shared it with the board about how we see where these positions fit in 2015. So why don't the two of you fill in the gaps on that?
I think you did a really good job at it. We listed in the board agenda item, we were also trying to fix some problems that were with the schedule. Like we've mentioned before, we have principals that would promote. We view it as a promotion. When a principal would go to a director on the existing salary schedules, they would actually make less money. Now we would Y-rate them so that didn't happen. We had coordinators making more than directors, and so this tiered salary schedule addresses all of those things.
It also addresses the issue that I've been talking about for years about there's no difference between classified and certificated administrators. There's positions and work that needs to be done in the district. And when I said that when I first came, of course, it was kind of like speaking out of both sides of my mouth because the salary schedule would indicate otherwise, meaning it doesn't really matter whether they're a classified manager or certificated manager. The position and how important it is to the organization is more important than the classification of that particular employee. So we took not only certificated directors, but classified directors, and came up with the concept of we're going to have 4 levels of directors, and so we wanted to make sure it's clear to the board and the public that rather than piecemeal this and bring it back every year with a little fix here and a little fix here, we wanted to do the whole thing at once and show recognition. And again, this is not about any individual. This is about the position and the importance of the position to the overall success of the school district.
Yeah, and so this also allows for, Tanya was reminding me, succession planning in terms of the positions. I also want to point out that we also looked at the titles of some of the positions. I know Grant was joking, and he used to hold this position, but he said, what does the Director of Learning Support Services even mean? So that title is being changed to, in this item, Director of Curriculum and Instruction. We added information and instructional technology to Joe's current position, Director of Technology. And it also looks at the changes that we've had in the organization in the area of purchasing. Our purchasing agent was not at the director level and should be. And with everything that we're doing in technology, I don't need to go into the details because we all know that. We had a shift in the way that we structure our technology department, and so this would reclassify and promote the supervisor of technology to an assistant director of technology. So it's kind of all bundled in a package.
Tanya, did you want anything to that conversation?
I think the two of you covered that. I think they're good.
So again, that's our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions the board might have about it.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, Ms. Twain.
To me, it seems like a money issue. I don't understand why we would have to level everything off. In terms of money, if we're going to have extra money, why aren't we giving it to students and teachers?
Well, what I would say is that, again, I think the dollar amount is $42,000 total. $42,000 for the whole year for this plan to move forward. And superintendents sometimes get in trouble in a recession using the phrase budget dust. But $42,000 to a multi-million-dollar organization like the school district is budget dust to recognize that teachers are vital, classified employees are important to the success of the organization, but let's not forget that leadership matters as well. And we don't have people behind them, meaning in Dr. Rouse and I've talked about this in unified districts or bigger districts. Sure, they have a director and assistant superintendent, but there's probably a coordinator and 2 or 3 other people because of the complexity of the organization. These people, these directors, they stand alone. So essentially, they don't delegate the work that normally in other organizations would be delegated out. So again, it's not about these people. If these people, I would hate for them all to go away. But if any of them went away, this plan still makes sense in terms of how we see the organization in 2015. So I know that I tried to answer your question, Mrs. Twyman. I know $42,000 may sound like a lot of money, but in terms of recognizing the importance of if a teacher leaves, that's a horrible thing, and it's hard to find good teachers now because that supply is going away. But I'd hate to say it, it's easier to replace the superintendent than it is many of those positions over there. I probably shouldn't tell you that, but that's really the case. These positions are vital to our continued success that you just saw in terms of student achievement. And again, I think it's a small amount of money to recognize and retain, because remember, other districts have taken a look at our people and they'd like to pick them off. And I just want to make it's important to our organization that we hold on to these people by recognizing not them individually, but the importance of their work.
No, I don't have any resistance to that. My concern is that we are using money to level things out, which, we're not even a unified district. So it seems like we have a much smaller coverage than a district that would have elementary kids also. I don't know. It just
excuse me. I have a comment. Now, having come from the elementary district, and I mentioned before that I would take help, over money. When I came to this district, the elementary district, I thought I died and went to heaven because I had a lot of staff members. And in the 7 years I was there, I think I handled 2 parent complaints that reached me because I had all these layers. So it's either you're going to buy more staff or you're going to do a better job with the limited staff you have, or pay them better, or recruit better, and all that. But I think it's an issue of comparable worth. That's how I understand it. Back in the day, we used to call that comparable worth studies. So you look at positions individually and their comparable worth to other positions in the system. And so I think that's what, you didn't say comparable worth, but I think that's what you did. You did a comparable worth study, and then you came out with something that makes sense because it's confusing, coordinators this and that, and they're all over the place. And now you have a structure that makes sense. And I don't have any problem with, I know it's not my money, but guess what? It's about making sense and paying people what they're worth. And you're looking not just in this district, amongst positions, but you're also looking at other districts and trying to compare apples and apples. Yeah.
Well, and also with this program, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
You can't expect people to work for free. And $42,000, it's like the man across the street always comes over and trims my trees, my palm trees. And he said, no. And I said, no, you don't work for free. You need to get paid. But he wants to do it as a neighborly gesture, and I won't let him because everybody needs to, with the
get paid
cost of living and get paid what they're worth.
And I also, this program also goes into detail on what their job descriptions are and makes it so that, this person could do this, but the person who's taking over for them can't do it. It's in the job description and going forward. So everything is laid out what they're supposed to do if they were to take that position, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, and what you said with comparable worth, I wouldn't use the term budget dust, but it's the equivalent of just over 2 sections, so 2 sections on a master schedule, and I think that's helpful to look at it that way. It is a small dollar amount, but in my opinion, Mrs. Twineman, you said, what about teachers and students? And I feel that this does impact, or could, if it's not changed, impact teachers and students, because then we would lose potentially the talent that we have out there, future recruiting and that sort of thing. I can speak to probably all of the directors, but in terms of technology, you mentioned that we're not a unified district, but when it comes to technology, we're doing more in that regard than all of our collaborative or feeder districts. Art is called constantly by our collaborative districts to get advice because of the great things he's doing here, and not just the 2 that I mentioned, but all of the directors I know as a cabinet we really want to hang on to.
And also, we were talking about Riverside County and unified schools. Are there any unified schools in Riverside County that are 1-to-1 with middle school all the way through high school? No. So, we're talking about appropriate value, and I believe that this is giving appropriate value to the positions that are being done. So,
how many of these positions are teacher positions, and how many are administration positions?
Well, these are all administrative positions. Some are certificated and some are classified. But if you look at Joe Williams, for example, and not talking about his performance, which of course everybody knows is pretty darn good, but I would tell you that Joe Williams is in a classified position, even though everybody knows he was a teacher, an English language arts teacher at Paloma Valley High School. So whether it's classified or certificated, what we wanted to do was take those concepts away and think of what are the positions in terms of comparable worth and what do they mean to Paris Union High School District in 2015. Maybe in 10 years you'll have to take another look at it, and maybe some positions will move around and jockey up in terms of their importance. But today, this is how we think they stand out.
I understand that. It just doesn't seem comparable. if we're a unified district, which we're not, it doesn't seem comparable.
I mean, we could look at Chaffee. They're one of the largest union high school districts, and they're not too far up the road in San Bernardino County. And I'm going to bet that their salaries are higher than ours. I know their superintendent's salary is a whole lot larger. It's a bigger district, but there's a whole lot more, as you say, ancillary support for all the activities that go on. But again, I think Dr. Rouse works in a district that is a comparable district from middle school to high school to us. And in conversations with him, I think he would say too, this makes a lot of sense. Again, we're not trying to give a gift of public funds to anybody. What we're really trying to do is say we're in a competitive environment. We want to make sure, and we're proud of the fact that our teachers are the highest paid in Riverside County. We're proud of that. And we're proud that we've been able to give substantial raises and increase health and welfare for our classified employees that are now better and larger than most of the school districts in the county as well. And we just think that, again, we're not hiring more people, Mrs. Twyman. We're just recognizing that if we could, what we could do is keep it the way it is and add 2 or 3 administrators, and then we'd be at about $200,000 more, and that wouldn't make any sense. So we really think this is a common sense approach to dealing with that very talented leadership team.
Any other comments? Questions? No? Okay. All right, please vote on this item. Okay, thank you. New job description, accountant and authorization to recruit. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Governing board, just so you know, this is a new position. It's a bargaining unit position. It's not a management position. And I might tell you, a few years back when we had a lot less students, we had an accounting supervisor. We laid off that position during the recession. So we don't need another leader over there. What we need is another accountant in the department, and Candace can speak to the specifics of that. But again, this is to advertise a bargaining unit position and a new job description and make sure that we go out and recruit.
Do you want an additional explanation of, you want to know all the beans they're going to count or anything? Okay.
I think accountant is pretty basic. Any questions? Okay, please vote. Thank you. Okay, this is the one that was pulled. Memorandum of Understanding with Tina Holt to facilitate anger management education and substance abuse prevention education support groups. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Ed and Jose. Okay, you have information on this?
Mr. Bennett?
Yes, this is we offer both anger management, substance abuse at our schools to help kids that have had issues. If they've been in fights or they've been caught with some kind of drugs or tobacco, we offer programs within the school to help them maybe not continue those poor behaviors. So this is a group that we want to work with at Paris High, Pinacate, Paris Lake, and the Academy. We have a different group that we work with in the southern part of the district, but this is one that works up in the Paris area.
Well, I was just wondering, like, how many students would, like, on a daily basis come to the program?
Well, in a session, they would have 6 to 8 students in a session. They do group counseling, so they'd have 6 to 8 at a time in there. And it's a 3-week session that they would meet with the kids during that time.
Every day for 3 weeks?
It's not every day, is it? Once a week.
Oh, once a week.
Yeah. So it.
Okay.
And does this company, did you guys get any kind of statistics on how well the program works and how many kids were back in the principal's office for fighting again or something of that nature? Do we have any
ask
kind
Mr.
of
Newman
stats on
too.
that?
Mr. Newman's been working with them quite a bit, so let me ask Mr.
Dr. Newman. Looks so studious.
Well, thank you. This particular program, what happened was in the past we had Victor Support Services. At the last minute, they pulled out, and they were no longer funded. So at that moment, we had to find support for our school sites in terms of other means of correction. So we had Positive Solutions. They were available. We had a couple of other agencies that we invited to come out. The two agencies that we got was Tanya Houghton and also Positive Solutions. So Positive Solutions they're going to support the district. Heritage, they'll be doing the same type of groups at Heritage and Paloma. And then this Tanya Holt, who is the director at Paris Valley Recovery, will support the schools inside of Paris. And so it's Tanya Holt, but it's spelled like that for some reason. Yeah.
And it's working.
Well, remember the program just started this year. The past program was Victor Support Services, but like I say, they didn't inform us, I think, till late July, early August that they would no longer provide those services. So at that moment, we had to very quickly make sure we had services available. She worked with Paris Valley Recovery. We've worked with them for many years, and so we just brought them on board to provide that kind of gap.
And is this agreement just for the 15-16 school year?
Correct. It's for this year. And one of the reasons why we went with two different agencies, because we wanted to be able to look at both agencies and determine which agency is most effective working with our kids. Okay.
Any other questions, Ms. Cooley?
Nope.
Any questions from anybody else? Nope. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Newman. Dr. Newman, I'm sorry, Dr. Newman. Please vote. Hey, you didn't go to. Yeah. Thank you. All right. I don't believe so. Okay, action item, curriculum, contract number, I'll let you guys read that. With the College Board for the College Readiness and Success Program. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you.
And this was going to be on the consent calendar, but in discussions with Mrs. Twyman, I asked that it be moved to action so that Grant can explain, and I know Dr. Newman's been involved in this too. It's pretty exciting what we're going to be able to offer our students, so I won't take your thunder away, Grant.
That's okay. What this is, part of our LCAP we wrote in is to give every 10th grade student and every 8th grade student the PSAT test, which is a call indicator for how well they're going to do on the SAT and possibility of how well they would do in an AP class. So we're giving that to every 8th grader and every 10th grader, which is kind of we're calling it a college kickoff day, October 14th. PSAT for those grades, but we have a whole line of other things going to be happening. Seniors are going to be doing college applications, working on FAFSA, looking to have military people come in and for kids that are interested in the military. The juniors that are A through G compliant at that point would be taking the PSAT also, because that qualifies them for National Merit Scholarship money that is only available if they take the PSAT at 11th grade. Other 11th grade students will be doing some college and career survey type information to find out where their interest is. Our 9th graders will be doing also the college and career readiness surveys, other activities. So we're doing basically a whole day of college kickoff, and that's countywide, something they're doing countywide, and we're pushing in our district.
And this is something they do in lieu of going to classes, or this is throughout their classes? This is what
will happen is the kids taking the assessment will be with the teacher taking the assessment for that period of time. The other kids will be with a teacher, and we're giving the teachers the lesson that they're going to be doing during that time, and they'll be with the teacher basically almost all day during that time. And it's on a Wednesday with our early collaboration time, so they'll right after lunchtime they'll have one more period, and then they'd be going home. And we're really looking forward. It's an really exciting event that we can participate in, and really, as we talk about our LCAP college and career readiness, this fits both of them together into one really nice event. So we're proud that we're going to be able to do this with the PSAT with the kids, because they're going to be able to get some data, really good data back to be able to share with students where their strengths are on as far as the SAT and those type of things. So we feel like it's a positive.
And do we have a dollar amount on how much is coming out of the general fund for the tests?
It's on the contract. It has I I have to pull up the contract real. I think it's like $10 a student, if I remember correctly. Is that right, Charles? Yeah. When I looked at it, I saw it on there. Sorry.
I don't see it myself. So.
I'm still looking for it. Sorry.
Me too.
Yes. Yes, for the it's $12 a student. No, for us we have a free and reduced lunch over 25%. It'd be $11.25 a student for the 10th graders, and then it's a less price if you go down a little bit more. Yeah, keep going. It's another one because we have different right there. $7.50 for the 8th graders.
Okay.
Per student taking the assessment.
Do we have an idea of how many students are going to be taking 8th and 10th grade?
Well, 10th graders,
ballpark.
10th graders, we have about 2,100 students. Okay. So it'll be about $21,000, and then 8th graders we have for about 600. So you're talking about $4,200, $4,500.
Okay. So about 25,000.
About 25,000 total. Yes.
Any other questions?
I think I talked to you about the ACT tests.
Right.
And
yeah, the ACT test is for college acceptance. The PSAT, it doesn't get them into college. SAT and ACT get them into college. And those are tests they would take as end of their junior year or into their senior year, the first semester.
Are you talking about the SAT and the ACT?
Well, you were just talking about the ACT. The ACT is a college acceptance test, really. Their aptitude to how they're going to do in college.
Were you talking about the AP course? You were talking about the AP courses, remember?
We used to offer both the ACT and the SAT.
Right.
I know they sound alike, but they're...
And students still do take both of those tests. It depends on the college they want to go to. Some colleges require them to take the ACT test, and some don't. And
we don't offer the ACT or the SAT.
Well, we don't offer them in our district. The kids go take them at locations,
college,
testing locations.
Yeah.
This year, though, we are going to be offering the SAT in our district, both at Heritage High School, and we offer it at. This is the first year Heritage is a testing site for the SAT, and we offered at CMI also the SAT. But the ACT, I think it was the closest one. I think I remember my son took it last year. Was down in Temecula. He went down to Temecula and took it somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have pre-ACT.
Pardon me?
We don't have pre-ACT. Maybe
No,
that was
there is no pre-ACT.
Pre-ACT.
Yeah. The PSAT is called preliminary SAT, basically.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments? No? Okay, then please vote. Thank you. Okay, action item, curriculum adoption of resolution number 6, 15 to 16, public hearing and resolution for pupil textbook and instructional materials compliance. This is the same as with CMI, but this is a public hearing, so we're opening at 7:16. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any questions, comments, anything? No? Okay, please vote. Okay, thank you. Bear with me here. And we conclude the public hearing at 7:17. There we go. Okay. Second review, presentation, and adoption of resolution number 3, 15 of 16, issuance of the bonds. We have already had plenty of information on this. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Does anybody need any more information on this? Any questions, comments, anything? I'm sure they have the team ready. Let's see if we don't need them.
The three
today.
musketeers are right there.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but during Charles Tippy's presentation, I got a picture of this for proof, but Scott was leaned over his chair studying those numbers like they were financial documents or something.
Anybody need any more information? No? Okay. Please vote on this item.
Important vote for Nick. This is like
Sorry to make you guys come all the way down here, but we're good. Thanks. Thank you very
you
much.
did such a good job educating us for 3 months.
Yeah.
We get it.
Okay. Adoption of resolution number 4, 15 to 16, resolution of support from the Paris Union High School District for the kindergarten through community college public education facilities bond act of 2016. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, any information for this?
Yeah, we've been, as you know, we passed Measure T in 2012, and at that time we'd have 30 years of a state school construction bond program where essentially the school district put out approximately half to build or modernize the school, and then the state would follow through with their share. Well, the state is out of that business. And unfortunately, our governor is not a believer in state financing for school construction and modernization. And the school community and the construction community and the business community in this state think we need to have it. So we're trying to make sure, and this is important for future construction both in Paris but especially in Menifee to build another high school someday, because we have the Menifee share of Measure T essentially set aside, but again, we have to sell those bonds, but still can't build a high school for $76 million. So it's important that all school boards look at this, whether they're growing like us or they're not, and they need to modernize that it's important for the state to have some sort of involvement and to turn to local voters or to developers and say you need to pick up half the cost of a new school is just not, it's not conceivable. And so we're asking you to support this so that we can get that signature drive going and get this on the ballot sometime next year.
Any questions?
Good deal.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely necessary, especially if we intend to build that high school that we were hoping to build. We are going to need some kind of state matching funds, and so I think we definitely need to approve to get it onto a ballot for voter approval. So, any other questions, comments? Nope. Please vote. Thank you. All right. Adoption of resolution number 5, 1516, resolution for adopting the GAN limit. Do I have a motion? Yeah. Do we have any information on this that we need?
No, we ask you to do this annually.
Okay. Any questions? No? Okay, please vote. Thank you. Okay. Adoption of resolution number 7, 1516, resolution authorizing procurement for security system upgrade and monitoring program. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay. We've heard about this already, but if you want to give us any extra
Yeah,
information.
so we actually moved really quickly. I'm very proud of my team, so thank you, all of you that were involved. But just last month we gave a presentation. We were looking at a few different options. I got the feeling that we were all on the same page of let's move forward. So we were able to work with council, work with Scott, our financial advisor, and secure financing. And so this, assuming you're all still on board, this resolution that you would adopt would authorize me to enter into the contract with the terms as described for the security as well as the financing. We got just an excellent deal in terms of a 2.5% interest rate for 5 years. So the total cost of interest, I think, is about $63,000. So to be able to, I know the principals are all very happy to have their security cameras upgraded. And monitored.
And monitored, hey.
And not for
we're
cats.
We're going to have cameras. Might as well have them monitored, huh? Does anybody have any questions? I know we've already had presentation on this. Any questions, comments? Nope. Please vote. Thank you. Information item, revised course peer tutoring. It's there if you want to read it.
Did you want some information on that?
Is anybody?
No? Okay.
Yeah, the information was there for us to read. I don't know. Curriculum proposed reclassification of district English learners. You have any information for this one?
Well, Mr. Tippy and Norma Correa were here to answer some questions. Our former reclassification criteria involved CST scores and a lot of different things that aren't relevant anymore. So we needed to revise our reclassification criteria. Charles, did you want to? And Norma Correa? They'll be quick. Charles said he had a 1-minute presentation.
We held Mr. Rose to 3 minutes. I don't know.
Good evening, President Nelson, members of the board, Dr. Greenberg, and cabinet. Is it turned off?
If the light's on, it's on.
Okay. Yeah.
Tom, you want me to help you with that technology? Joe's over there.
So I'm here with Norma Carrillo, who is the EL teacher lead at Paris High School, who's done a fabulous job on working with our teachers and students on incorporating the English language development standards, and she's also been a big part of this new reclassification criteria. So thank you for being here tonight with us. Our objectives with this project are to properly identify the time for when we reclassify a student from English learner to reclassified fluent English proficient, and trying to find just the good time to do that. We don't want to reclassify students if they're not ready, and then we also don't want to have the standards too rigorous that we have students in AP classes and they're still considered an English learner. Some of the other things we have to address with the current criteria are the changes in the state assessment. So we mentioned that we're in a new world of assessment and accountability. And then in our current, based on the feedback that we've had from the District English Learner Advisory Council and our EL leadership team, a lot of the criteria that we currently have are not specific to English language proficiency attainment, and they're creating barriers for students to reach those reclassification goals. So Norma's going to talk a little bit about the process and some of the criteria that we have done.
Okay, last year throughout the year, and by the way, good evening, Dr. Greenberg, good evening, members of the board. Throughout the year, DLAC, the district level ELAC, kept bringing up discussions about grades. And so this began a question for the group, and we were starting to look at, were we actually reclassifying our students based on language proficiency, or were we giving them reclassification based on academic performance? So we kept reflecting on that. We brought that discussion over to the EL leadership meetings throughout this year, and then moved it over to Ed Services and everyone involved with EL leadership. We brainstormed a couple areas where we could revise the reclassification and finalize a document, and I think you guys have the document with you. And then the EL teams decided that we're going to present this to our ELAC advisory boards this year, which I believe we've already done this month. And then here we have it for you guys. Okay.
And then we're here tonight with the informational item. DLAC will present this to the DLAC at the meeting next week, and then propose it to the board next month for an action item.
Okay, so what you're looking at now are the areas that the state requires for us to look at in terms of reclassification. So we're looking at the language assessment, and for that we use a CELT that's staying the same. The areas that we needed to modify are the teacher recommendation, and then the parent consultation, and the standardized test measurement of basic competency. So those are the 4 things that the state requires. Okay, for language assessment, that's going to stay the same as of now. So that means that our students, in order to be considered, have to at least get a 3, which is early advanced, and they can't get lower than early advanced in any of the sub-scores in the tests. Okay, so one of the areas we were reflecting that could require change was a teacher recommendation. So what we're looking at here is actually a shift from grades only to teacher evaluation. So our evaluations are going to be based on the student progress, based on English language development standards, not grades or GPA. Because from our discussions, we were finding that even though a student perhaps does not have a 2.0 GPA, that would qualify them under the old program for reclassification, the GPA doesn't necessarily reflect language proficiency. So that's what we're doing. And then the input from multiple teachers and the EL leadership team. So on the handout that you have there, if you look at item number 2, we're going to be sending the form out to 6 teachers. And if you look at the form, we have it in English and Spanish. The feedback is asking the teachers to make comment about the English language performance that they see in their classes. So as long as 2 teachers approve the reclassification of that student, then we're going to go ahead with it. And of course, this is going to be reviewed by the EL leads and or the AP for the EL program. And of course, we're going to be collecting reports on grades as an informational piece. But we want to make sure and focus our decisions on language proficiency according to the standards. Okay, and then the other area that we were looking to evaluate is the parent consultation. So what we're adding here is just that we're going to now make a phone call to the parents in addition to that signed letter, and giving that opportunity for the parent to meet with us if they would like to do that. Just to make sure, and it's just an added communication piece that we want to make sure to add to our process of reclassification.
And this is the one that we struggled with a lot. With all of the new changes in the assessment systems, we had to identify new standardized assessments to use in the reclassification criteria. So we're replacing, obviously we don't have CSTs and ELA anymore, with multiple standardized assessment options. So we'll be using the summative, smarter balanced assessments, the interim assessments that'll be given throughout the school year. We'll still allow students to reclassify with Casey for those students who have already taken it, and also use our local unit assessments for students in grades 9 and 10. We also worked with experts at Key Data Systems. I talked to a lot of directors in other districts, got a lot of feedback. We'll be using a mid-near college level indicator for that, so based on the skilled score for each grade level, and identifying students that are almost at that MET standard mark, which is pretty comparable to the old CST of mid-basic, which we used to use 325 in the districts. And then we'll be looking at the use of English language arts only in that category instead of ELA and math, which is what we currently have. This is just the Smarter Balanced scores and what they look like. The third column over has the percentage of English learners that met each category. And you can see kind of the reason why we wanted to go to a mid-level 2. So the yellow being the level 2. If we used only the 3 and 4, then we would only have about 7.5% of the students meet this criteria. In the old days, we would have almost 50%. So we needed to lessen that a little bit. And it's the same reason that we talked about earlier: new assessments, new standards, more rigor, and whatnot. This has information for the county reclassification rates and all of the districts. So we were trying to kind of keep this similar to what we had in previous years when we did have the STAR assessments. Right now, we were at about 12%, and I have limited data. We're still waiting on scores for some of our collaborative districts. But if this gets approved, it'll be pretty similar to what we had before. So information you see here in the old system, if we look at only students who had a CELT level of early advanced or advanced and used that cut point of 325 on the ELA CST, there were about 36% of the students that met that. On our current criteria that has ELA and math, once again, looking only at CELT level 4 or 5, we're at about 16%. And this proposed criteria would have 24% of the students with a CELT level 4 and 5, and that represents about 13.2% of all the English learners. So that overall reclassification, we wanted something that steadies, because once again, we don't want to over reclassify and we don't want to under reclassify. We're trying to keep it steady. And those rates will go down a little bit more when we get the scores from the one district that we're waiting on. So it'll probably go down to about 9 or 10% on that. And then this has a breakdown of what it would look like if we went with the Smarter Balance 3 or 4 only, and why we kind of went to the mid-2. And about 15% as opposed to 9.2. These are the main implications of this. We think the new proposed criteria is more targeted and specific on language fluency, and kids aren't getting, they don't have barriers in front of them based on non-language specific items. And we also have a lot more teacher involvement. So one of the reasons I think we stole that form from your district, the teacher evaluation part. But it's kind of a double, 2 reasons for that. We got permission from the, 2 things on that. We're getting a true evaluation from the teacher, so the teacher's analyzing the student's English proficiency, so we feel that's a better measure, and there's more teacher involvement. We're trying to raise awareness of the ELD standards, and that actually has the teachers do that in this process. And then the challenges would be that these are new standards, new assessments. We'll probably need to adjust this next year, depending on how the scores play out. And I think that was it. Did you want to add anything? Any questions or anything that we can add to this before we bring it back next month as an action item?
I just want to add a comment. Okay. I was noticing, if you see the 2 graphs for ELA and this one that we have here for RFEPs. So I just want to say thank you and congratulations to all the teachers who are doing an outstanding job. And the results are speaking by themselves. Yes. Look at this. RFEPs, meeting the standard or exceeding the standard, we had 44.45 plus 9.7, that is 55.1, right? EOS is 48.6.
Yes.
Right? So it's just an example of how, because those are FEPs that are exceeding, they are being more successful, right?
Absolutely.
Here we can say. Yeah. They were ELs, right? So starting in the lower levels, they are reclassified. So that was an excellent job. And you can see 16% not meeting the standards of RFEPs, 27.3 not meeting the standards of EOS. Yes. So the program is working, and we are very pleased to see those results. And I'm sure with the new reclassification, we are going to continue to have those results. Thank you for the excellent job.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Information item, revolving cash report. It's revolving, has cash. Information item, board policy, series 3000. Love those, yeah. Board policy, series 4000. Closed session.
Not necessary, Mr. President.
Did you?
No, I think it was addressed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so not necessary. Other items by the superintendent?
None.
Good answer. Other items by the Board of Trustees? Dr. Russ?
No, sir.
No? Ms. Twyman, Ms. Cooley, Mr. Agundes?
No, just notice the time. That's good.
We try. Thanks. We try. I did have one thing. I did want to congratulate Mr. Williamson I was at the Paloma Valley football game on Friday with the big flag, and it was very heartwarming to see the flag and to hear the band. It sounded awesome, and to see all the NJRTC kids involved, and everything just went off without a hitch, and it was really, really nice to see. And you guys got a upset victory, which was even better too. No. So I just want to congratulate you guys on that awesome night, and that would be it for me. Did I skip an item? It didn't show up. Let me see.
Oh, was this? Oh, no, we took care of that one.
Did it? Oh, I know what it was. Because when I pressed next step after reconvene, it didn't pop up, so I pressed it again. It must have jumped over it. So, okay, let me go back. Take meeting date. Okay, 18.1, it is an action item. It is discipline, board review of student discipline matters, ratification of agreement of expulsion. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you for catching that, Sarah. Okay. Any questions, comments? No, please vote. Okay, now, motion for adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Yeah, do we want to stay here all night? Any second? Oh, thank you. Okay. Any questions about adjournment? I didn't think so. Please vote. All right, thank you very much. Meeting's over at 7:39.